Testing, testing. One, two, three, 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 three.
Welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us back on the Backlook Cinema podcast or Backlook Cinema, the podcast. I'm still not decided. I'm still flaking. I'm still going one way or the other. I'm still messing up the name. So what we do here on this here show, we take a look at the movies of yesteryear. And this episode is sponsored by the Book of Lies podcast. Now, this is the 63rd episode. Once again, thank you for downloading and streaming. We really appreciate it. The reason we started this show was to strengthen the bond between my son, Zach, and me, Zoe. We watched movies that I loved when I was growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I'm going to tell you about what Zach thought about those classic movies that we just watched just moments ago. And if you like this show, then rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podchaser.com or your favorite podcast app. Finally, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can find the details in the show notes. And if you have not already guessed, we have a surprise guest. I called him just this week. I was like, hey, buddy, you want to join me for this podcast? And he said, yeah, because it was just going to be me all by myself. And I was like, no, we was doing some back and forth talking about the Batman, the movie that just came out. And I was like, he might want to talk about some more Batman. So I got him to join me on this show. He is the co-host of Oddity podcast, the one, the only Rocky.
Hello.
Welcome, Rocky. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
So we were actually talking earlier about your podcast, Oddity, and you talk about games, you talk about movies, you talk about TV shows, you got dogs. So
yeah, you hear that, huh?
So
yeah. That's why I was just sending a text here. Shut the dog up.
So what games are you playing right now?
Take a guess.
Well, I know that Elden Rings is out, and I heard you talking about it on, I think, your last show.
And the last show before that, and probably the show before that. Elden Ring has dominated the podcast lately.
Right.
A whole lot of Elden Ring.
So it has basically edged out the other games that you've been playing.
Yeah. So before Elden Ring, I had started on Cyberpunk re-released, and tried to get it right with the next gen stuff. And I had started on that and I was having a good time. Then here comes Elden Ring, and it's just been Elden Ring. Yeah, the whole time.
So I've heard it described as a Souls-like game. And is that the feeling you get?
Definitely a Souls-like game, only it's open world. So it gives you the option to run now,
So you can run far away enough from the combat area.
Yeah, you don't have to stay and fight anymore,
right.
So most Souls games, you just have to keep dying and dying and dying. But now you can run, go back, get a little stronger, come back, and try again. But the game's great. I'm loving it. I'm having a blast with it, even though I'm dying repeatedly, and it's a grind. And I learned with this game though to kind of stay off of social media with. Like when I see some Elden Ring, I keep scrolling because sometimes it's like a guy who beat it in an hour, and it just discourages you.
Well, he probably skipped all the side quests and whatnot. I've seen some.
Even with that though, that's impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some people that talk about they beat like a certain enemy, and there's a guy asking questions because he's struggling with this enemy, and then another guy come on and said, "You had trouble with that guy, man. I beat him in a minute." Right?
Yeah. Oh, I found this trick. You do this.
Right.
They have it. Or my, and I this game has dominated not only my home life but my work life. It's several people at work.
Right.
Several people at work that are playing it also, and we all having different experiences, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that makes it pretty cool. And I'm like, I never even seen that guy. And in some places I've been, they're like, I never been there. Where's that at? And we actually sit down and we start comparing maps and
right.
Have you did this and done that? But it's been a struggle, but a fun struggle,
Right.
Very fun. I was playing it right before when you texted me. Are you ready? I was like, I guess I gotta pause the other one, which you can't pause, so you have to cut it off.
But is this Xbox or it's on a computer?
No, I'm playing it on PlayStation 5.
Oh,
It's for PC, Xbox, and
right.
PlayStation. Yeah, it's
I was
cross-platform.
thinking if it were the Xbox and you could do like the pause and do quick resume or something like that.
Nah, yeah, PlayStation.
Yeah,
You
PlayStation's still
can, I
old
mean, you can
school.
just cut it off in the middle, but when you come back on, the game scolds you. You know, it's like you didn't save properly.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
So,
So,
are you watching television, or has this completely dominated like every aspect of your leisure time?
no, I'm watching television. So, let me see. It's been a lot since the last time I talked to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
But
there have been a lot of
so
series that come have gone.
oh yeah, so I was involved. Peacemaker was, you know, I was on the Peacemaker train for a while, which that
Yeah,
was a great show. It was a really good show.
one of the best shows on television. It was absolutely amazing.
Yes, it was. It was really good. The opening sequence and it just brings a smile
It
to my
was
face thinking about it.
unskippable.
Unskippable. And it started off with I was like, I hope they don't do this every time. I started with that.
Right.
And by the fourth, fifth episode, I'm like, man, I can't wait to see that open sequence again, you know.
And the thing about it is like I'm always looking for something new. Like it seems like, especially like the first like 4 or 5 times I watched it, or like I'm spotting
Yeah.
something new. I'm just
Oh
noticing
yeah, yeah.
things.
Somebody's weird dance
Right.
and I
It's
don't
like,
know
well,
if you
obviously,
follow I don't know if you follow James Gunn on Twitter, but he was tweeting out for a while like different things. Hey, do you notice how this actor looks,
right,
during
right,
the dance sequence? And then you start looking for that. Oh, he does look weird, it's
right.
fun.
What
But
I
yeah.
I figured that like I'll point to some guys like, well, that guy clearly can't dance. They just said, just go out there and move your limbs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
and then
But
and then some of them
oh,
look like they were trained dancers.
yeah, yeah, some of them. But the latest stuff I've been watching, I finished just a couple of days ago was they released you may know the show The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
Well, they did The Boys, they call it The Boys Diabolic, I think it's called. I don't know if you heard of it, but
yeah,
it's
I've heard
also
of
on
it.
Amazon. Yeah, and it's like an anthology of there goes my dog again. It's like an anthology of short cartoons that take place in the world of The Boys. And it was
That's
really
out
good.
already.
Yeah, it's out already. It's out
Oh,
already.
I didn't know that.
It's really good. It's only about 8 episodes and they're about 13 minutes long, but it really gives you another look at, you know, not just what was going on with the characters in the show, but what was going on with the other characters, other people in
Right.
that world. And yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I recommend it.
What I noticed about that is that the it takes some elements from the live action show and it takes other elements from the actual comic book or
Yeah,
some of the things that were inspired by the comic book.
yeah,
So many of the characters like Homelander and Huey, they look like from the comic book. And then other
yeah.
characters like Dark Noir, he looks like he's from the animated show.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing. And then Huey's actually voiced by I forgot his name. The guy that plays Scotty on the newer Star Trek movie. That guy.
Um, yeah,
He was on
him.
Hot Fuzz and yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Hot
yeah.
Fuzz.
I know who you're
Because
talking about.
the character in the comic book was made to look like him. And so
Yeah,
and then the guy comes back and does the voice of Huey. So I thought it's like poetic justice. Now that I know that it's out now, I'm gonna go and watch a couple of those
yeah.
episodes.
Go watch it. It's a quick watch. You
Right,
can finish it all in one half a day, maybe.
right,
It's really good. Really good. Not all the episodes are like watch necessary. Like some of them you could probably even skip and it wouldn't matter. But it's majority of them are things that like kind of relate to the show that you were like, oh, okay,
right, right, right.
okay, I know, I understand this, a little better now. Yeah,
Yeah,
really
because
good.
I was uh I was wondering about how close it was connected to the show or how far away. And
Yeah,
there's a lot of television I'm trying to watch now. It's like I wanted to at least watch a couple of episodes of the new Fresh Prince show. I wanted to watch the what do you call that thing? Uh Enterprise, because not Enterprise, one of the Star Trek shows, Discovery.
Discovery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Discovery.
I've fallen behind a little bit. It's this season
Yeah,
looks really good, so, but I've fallen behind a couple episodes. And Picard has started, so I at least want to get one episode of Picard in because that looks extremely well, and looks like it's done extremely well. And so that's what I plan to watch. I've not been able to watch a lot of television. I can only go over what what television I plan to watch. And
Yeah, well, I only get the game on the weekend, so
right,
through the week is soccer practice. I'm coaching soccer this year. That's fun, and and stuff like that. So I don't get the game, but at work, luckily I work a type of job where I can do my work and watch, have something playing while I'm working. You know what I
right.
mean?
That's
And
pretty
so
awesome.
I get in a lot of my shows like that.
So you said soccer practice. Have you played soccer? Is that your game?
No, soccer is not my game. No, no,
So
not at all. Not one
you
bit.
learn right along with him then.
Well, last weekend I spent part of the day playing FIFA, on Xbox, and after one match of FIFA, I think I'm a pro now, and I'm ready to coach kids and lead their lives, to
Right.
soccer greatness. So,
Is one of your kids playing?
yeah, my son.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So they just reached out to parents to ask who wanna help out.
Yes, and my
Ah.
wife voluntold me to.
She
You're
told
coaching
you
soccer this
you're
year,
coaching
and
soccer.
that's right. And I said, "On what now?" You're coaching soccer. I said, "Well, I don't know how to play soccer." And she was like, "Well, learn because you're coaching soccer this year." Okay.
Right.
Well, yeah. So we had our actually our second practice yesterday. No,
Right.
maybe yeah, it was yesterday. What's today? No, it was Thursday.
Okay.
And
Yeah, today is
yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, it was Thursday, and yeah, just make them run a lot, and
Right,
I
right,
figure
right.
that's half the battle,
Right.
running. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes.
Awesome. That sounds
Yeah.
great. So how is everybody doing? Everybody's doing all right?
Yeah, everybody's good. Everybody's
Awesome.
fine. Yep.
All
The
right.
family's good.
All right. That sounds great. So why don't you tell us about any social media or websites of Audio Oddity that you want to
Oh,
plug?
okay. It's promo time. Got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's promo time. I
Well,
put
you
it in the
can.
notes.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? You take time. You take time to write all that out, and I'm like, well, No, you can find us on Audio Audio Podcast across all. We're on everything: TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us across all those major social media platforms, and you can also find the podcast across the Audio Oddity Podcast across all major podcast platforms. And we're primarily a video game podcast, but we sneak in a movie review or a TV show review here and there. But at heart, we're video game lovers.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's what's interesting is that I think your Twitter is Oddity Audio, is it? Or have you been able to change it up?
Look, we don't bring that. We don't talk about that
We don't
anymore.
talk about that. We don't talk about Bruno
We don't.
or
Yeah,
the Twitter
don't.
account.
Yeah. Yes, it
But
is. Thanks to a certain co-host of mine created our Twitter and flipped the name, so it's Oddity
right.
Audio on Twitter.
Right.
But if you put in, Audio Oddity Podcast, I'm sure something will come up that
Right.
relates to, that'll come
But
back to the show. And I want to
beware of the
appreciate Twitter.
fakes.
I just take a quick shout out to Twitter. I wasn't a big Twitter person in the beginning of the podcast, but I started getting more involved, and I'm getting a whole bunch of love from Twitter now. People retweeting us and other podcasts and stuff. And I want to thank all of them, for really, just kind of help promote the show. We all helping each other out. It's great.
Right.
A lot of
Right.
love on Twitter. And I always heard it was really toxic on Twitter, but I experienced a lot of love there.
Yeah.
Although you do
It's
see some really toxic video game takes on there, but
yeah, it kind of depends on what you're constantly clicking on, and then the algorithm kind of picks up what you want. It's a lot less toxic than Facebook. Like Facebook will purposely show you things that will upset you. And that's what it's
yeah.
designed for. But Twitter is much more pleasant environment to deal with. So
Yeah.
and the other thing is that I've not experienced a whole bunch of like negative stuff on Twitter. So it's It's a pretty cool place. I just go in there, I post my little thing, and I bounce, right?
Yeah. I've been trying to interact with other podcast people, and I comment if I see something, or I'll comment on a game, or stuff like that. But everybody's been pretty positive, and it's been good. It's been a good
Awesome.
experience so far.
Awesome.
You know.
All right. So that's it for the interview and the promos. In our next segment, we're going to be doing the opening credits. And upcoming, like right after I speak, we got something from Book of Lies.
So did you hear about Jen Shaw?
No, I didn't hear about Jen Shaw.
How about Erica? You hear about Erica?
I don't think so.
What about that fraud shit from the other day?
Can you be more specific?
There's so much fraud out there and so much shenanigans. You should just tune into Book of Lies podcast.
Book of Lies podcast.
Every week we talk about some fraud, some scams, and maybe even some TV shows.
Where there are scams.
Yes, of course. Scams, frauds, and all those things. So tune in every week where we'll bring you a new topic of...
Scams?
That's right. Scams.
So tune in on your favorite podcatcher to catch up on the latest liars, cheaters, thieves, and dirty, rotten scoundrels.
That's right. See you soon.
Bye!
And we're back. We are at the opening credits section of the podcast. Oh my goodness. I realized that I didn't change the name of the movie on my copy. What does it say on your copy? Does it say Roadhouse?
Let's see. Well, I got Batman Returns at the top, but no. At the opening credits, yes, you put Roadhouse.
It's not that I put Roadhouse. I just didn't change the name, but
okay.
I changed everything else. So
I tell you what, though, this sounds like a much better Roadhouse movie.
Have you
Starts
seen
off
Roadhouse?
with the penguin. I'm like,
right?
What?
Have you seen Roadhouse?
Oh man, of course I have. Who hasn't?
That joint was a classic. I really enjoyed
classic.
it. I mean,
have y'all done that one yet?
Yeah, we just did it like a couple of weeks ago. Was it last week? I think it was last week we did that. We did that.
I have to go listen to that one.
Yeah, we did that with another podcast, and they're called Hold on, because I'll say it differently. Rotten Treasure. It's the Rotten Treasure
okay.
podcast,
I've seen them. I've seen those. Yeah.
Right. Those are some great guys. And the funny thing about Rotten Treasure is that if in my head, it sometimes comes out as Rotten Tomato. So I got to be careful before I speak it. Because if I'm not careful, it comes out as Rotten Tomatoes. Well, yeah, it's the Rotten Treasure podcast. A couple of great guys. I had a lot of fun with them. But it's a longer episode than usual. It's because I didn't have time to edit it down. They were like, yeah, if you want to edit it down some, it's all right. But I was recording it on the Sunday. I was like, I ain't got time for that. I'm just gonna clean up the audience, put it out there. You're gonna hear everything.
I think you still hold a record for my longest episode, I think.
How long was our episode the last time?
I think it was like 2 hours, I want to say.
Yeah, I think theirs was 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'll have to look at it though.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, it was long. I'm gonna have to find it because it was like let's see. No, it was right at 2 hours. 157.
Right.
157, yeah. That's our longest episode to date.
Yeah. All right. So why don't you tell us about the movie? The movie we watched was Batman Returns. Why don't you tell us about that movie?
Well, you want my opinion or just
the thing in the notes?
Okay, the thing in the notes. Okay. I'm doing this. Okay.
You know how to.
I guess the highlighted parts. The highlighted parts are me.
Yeah, the highlighted parts. You know how this go.
I know. I'm just messing with you. Okay. Oswald Cobblepot. This is the opening credits, right?
Yeah.
The Penguin wants to be respected and seeks revenge on a corrupt businessman. Max Shrek wants to build a power plant that steals power from the city. Meanwhile, Selena Kyle makes her moves in order to get revenge on Mr. Shrek in the guise of Catwoman. How will these interconnecting plots play out in Batman Returns?
Yes, and I actually wrote that one that time because I was
There you
looking at
go.
the summaries that they had on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, man, none of these sound right. I don't like any of these, so I did it myself.
Kind of wrote, I kind of tell. I was like, that sounds like he wrote that,
Right.
Because
So,
you're right.
yeah. I had to put my voice on it that time, and I uploaded it to IMDb.
You like changed it, like
No, you don't. You can add. You can just add.
Oh,
You
really? You
can't
can add
erase any, but you can add your own summary to it.
so
Or
it's
if
like
you have a
Wikipedia.
synopsis,
I never realized
not
that.
not Wikipedia. I meant IMDb. You can add.
Yeah,
summary
no,
to
that's what I'm
IMDb.
saying. It's like
Yeah.
IMDb is like Wikipedia, where you can edit it, kind of.
Right.
So
Well, you can't edit it. Like you can't take what somebody else written and edit it, but
Oh,
you
okay.
can add your own summary to it. So,
oh man.
yeah.
I might need to go summarize a couple more.
So this movie was released on June 19th, 1992 by Warner Brothers Polygram Filmed Entertainment and Polygram Filmed Entertainment. It grossed over $162 million in the US and Canada and $266 million worldwide on an $80 million budget, and it had rave reviews. It made a lot of money because people just pouring money into this movie.
I bet.
So this movie was starring Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne / Batman. He's been in Birdman or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, The Founder, The Flash, and Morbius and Batgirl. Oh, actually,
that's
The Flash is upcoming. Right, The Flash is upcoming. Morbius is about to come out on April 1st, and Batgirl is something else that's upcoming.
That's right. It also stars one of my favorite people in the movie, Danny DeVito, as Oswald Cobblepot the Penguin. He's been in Matilda, Julia the Now, Throw Mama from the Train, which is actually, those are all pretty good movies. Despite the titles, they were good movies.
Yeah, I have to check at least one of them out. Throw Mama from the Train. I always heard that was bad, but I might have to go back and check
that was
out.
good. It was all right. It was all right. Yeah.
Up next is Michelle Pfeiffer. She played Selena Kyle / Catwoman. She's been in Dangerous Mind, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and the Fabulous Baker Boys.
And then you got Christopher Walken, legendary. He played Matt Shrek. He also has been in The Deer Hunter, Catch Me If You Can, and Prophecy. I don't think I ever saw Prophecy. What is that one about? Really?
He's basically an angel that wants to start a war in heaven, and he's looking for the soul of a particularly bad man. So the soul has been hidden in the mouth of a child. So he's looking for this, right? He's looking for this soul, and with this soul of this evil man, he can start this war in heaven and win this war and take God's place. Yeah.
What year was this?
I think it was 1995 and 1996.
I have to go check that out.
Yeah, I had a ball watch that. It was a pretty gnarly movie. I might even put it on the show. I got to put that on the list.
Yeah.
This movie also has Michael Gough as Alfred Pennyworth. He was in Sleepy Hollow, Out of Africa, and Doctor Who.
Okay.
Well, a bunch of Doctor Who episodes in the 1980s.
Oh, okay. And then we got Michael Murphy, who played the mayor. He's been in Manhattan, Nashville, Tanner 88. I don't think I've ever seen any of those.
Yeah, neither have I. A lot of those came out in the 80s. I don't know nothing about those movies. Like, well, I gotta put something. Up next is Christy Conaway. She played the Ice Princess. She's been in the Time Cop TV show, Doc Hollywood, and Husbands and Wives.
I can't believe you put the Ice Princess on here.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize that she played such a minor part. It's like, IMDb, they list the actors, and I figured, well, these actors must be important because they're on they're on the front page, right? But no, she was just she was in the beginning and then she fell and died. So.
Yeah, and that was it. That was the end of her. All right, and then we got Andrew. I'm gonna butcher this one. You gave me this one on purpose, huh? Because you didn't want to say the name, right?
No.
Andrew Byron
sometimes. I got you got two of them too.
I knew it. All right, we got Andrew Byronarski.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me.
He played Chip. He's been in Street Fighter, Hudson Hawk, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've seen all those.
Guess what part he played? Guess what part he played?
Andrew Chip. I don't know who's
Oh,
Chip?
no. In Street Fighter, he played.
Oh, in Street Fighter.
He played Zangief, and in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he played the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm trying to think of who he was in Batman Returns.
I think he was the big guy that Batman blew up.
Ah, okay.
I think I'm not exactly sure, but I think that was him.
Okay, all right. Those are all. I used to love Street Fighter, but man, I tried. As an adult, I went back and watched it. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad.
So you liked it when you were a child?
Yeah, when I was a kid, but
when you grew up, you realized
I realized how bad movie that was. Yeah.
I watched it as an adult, and I was like, nope, this is a bad take. This is a bad. Well, the thing I didn't like about it was how the characters were all. They were in the wrong role. There's like the wrong emphasis were placed on the wrong characters. Like it's supposed to be Ryu's movie. It's not supposed to be.
But it was a Guile movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not supposed to be a Guile movie. Yeah,
Van Damme was Guile, wasn't he?
Right. That's correct. Van Damme played Guile and they made it a Guile movie, and I thought that was a bad movie. But anyway, moving on.
Digress.
Yeah, we digress. Pat Hingle played Commissioner Gordon. He's been in the Elvis TV movies, Running Scared, and Sudden Impact. Oh, have you? Speaking of Elvis, have you seen the trailer for the Elvis movie?
Yes, I have. I'm not an Elvis fan, not a big Elvis guy for a number of reasons that I will not state on this podcast. But I'm not a big Elvis guy. Right. But the movie did look kind of, like I might check this out.
Yeah, I was very curious. I saw the trailer. I was because one of the things is like, man, I don't want to watch no Elvis movie. I'm just like you. I'm not an Elvis fan. But when I saw the trailer, I was like, you know what? This looked like it might be interesting, especially with Tom Hanks. He plays Colonel. What's his name? The Colonel was the Elvis's.
Oh yeah. They just call him Colonel
Tom something.
Yeah. Oh, it's such an easy name too.
Right.
But yeah, I know
it's like
Tom
Parker or something like that. And
then
something
like that.
In the trailer, it looks like he has a huge accent, like he's from Austria or something like that. I was like, oh, that's something I did not know. And Pat Hingle, he played the same character in this Elvis TV movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm probably gonna watch that.
Right.
All right. Then we got Vincent Schiavelli. That's right.
Good enough for me. I never heard his. I've seen him in a lot of movies, but I've never heard his name pronounced.
Never heard it say. Organ Grinder. He played in Badass, Death to Smoochie, and Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
Okay.
You may also recognize him from Ghost.
Oh, okay.
He played.
Which part he played in Ghost?
Well, remember, this guy's an organ grinder. So he was a guy like early in the movie. His organ grinder was actually a machine gun.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
So in Ghost, he was the spirit that taught Patrick Swayze how to touch objects.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this movie was directed by Tim Burton. He's also directed Ed Wood, Sleepy Hollow, and Mars Attacks. I liked the first two movies. I have not seen Mars Attack yet. I really got to get on that one.
What? Mars Attacks was good.
I heard it was an awesome movie. I was like, man, I gotta get that. Now, who wrote this
Mars
movie?
Attacks is good. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that one. All right. This was written by Bob Kane and Bill Figures.
I'm sorry, that's
characters.
That's Fingers.
Oh, Fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I looked at it and I said, I can't say fingers. And then, and then so okay. And then Daniel Waters, The Adventures of I guess this is works he also done. Adventures of Ford Fairline, Hudson Hawk, and Demolition Man. Man, great movie. Great movie.
Yeah.
And Sam Hamm, he did Mantis.
Right. Do you remember Mantis?
No, I do not.
That was the only thing of note on this that he has written that I saw. So Mantis is a TV show that came on in 80s. It only, maybe in the early 90s, it only lasted one season, maybe less than a season. But it was about a Black superhero who was kind of like, he was sort of Iron Man, sort of Batman. He's kind of a combination of the two, except he was Black. But I kind of watched it, but I was kind of turned off by the costume, and the show seemed slow to me. But I would watch it anyway. Right? It was one of those shows. But what you call it? Oh, so Bill Fingers, his name actually isn't on the credit in this movie, but he was one of the co-creators of Batman. But Bob Kane, being he's more of a businessman than he is a writer. So he made sure he got all the credit for creating Batman, even though he does not deserve all of the credit. Like
kind of like the guy that's swindled the McDonald brothers. That out of
well,
I don't know if
you
heard
talking
that
about Ray
one.
Kroc. I don't know if he did. Is that what he did? Because it seemed like he just created the franchise, because the McDonald brothers maintained their own original restaurant.
Yeah, but
and then he basically kind of took over the business and made it into a franchise.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
So the music in this movie was by Danny Elfman. He also wrote The Simpsons, Spider-Man, and Hulk. Not the Hulk, or not the Incredible Hulk, just Hulk.
Okay.
So that's it for the opening credits. And if you're enjoying the show, remember that you can get t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, face masks, jerseys, and more at our website, backlookcinema.com, where you can click on either the Teespring or tpublic.com. I'm going to be changing that up. So I'm going to have the store embedded into the website. At least that's the plan, but there's some confusing legal issues that I got to figure out. But as soon as I straighten that out, then it'll be a whole different, you can get some of the same stuff, but it'll be a whole different way that you'll be able to buy stuff on the website. Now we're going to go and we're going to take a short news break. All right, we're back. And now we're going to take, this is our news break. And this is stuff I heard. I had like a little issue with the computer. It wouldn't save. And then I had to bring the computer back online, and some stuff didn't save like it was supposed to. That's one of the reasons I was a little bit late. And so I had like 4 or 5 news items over here, and now I'm down to 1, but I think I can find the rest on my phone. But the first thing that I want to read is that CBR.com reported about, did you hear about the change in the Batman costume?
No, I did not.
There is a change in the Batman costume for the Chinese posters. So the Batman, the movie that we just watched, The Batman, with Pat Robertson. So his movie has been granted release in China, but on the Chinese posters, the Batman costume is slightly different. So on the Chinese posters in China, the bat emblem is a yellowish color. So instead of that gunmetal black color in our version, on their version, it's a yellow color. And then those little silver things on his gauntlet, whatever you call those things, those also appear to have a yellowish color. So if you go on CBR.com, you'll be able to see, or I think they got it off of a Facebook post.
I wonder why. I mean, did they? That's probably, I don't know. Switch.
I think because the Chinese, the Chinese entertainment bosses, they decided that it looked better if it was yellow. And then when I looked at the costume, I was like, you know what? It does look better yellow.
They're probably right. I wasn't a big fan of the costume, so
I remember. But another thing about it is that he kept getting shot in the chest, and it would have made more sense if it was yellow, because then you could see why people were shooting him in the chest instead of shooting him in the face where he's most vulnerable.
Yeah, I know. Nobody ever aims for the jawline on him. I don't know why.
Right.
It's one piece of exposed skin on him, and everybody avoids it.
Right. They can't manage to do it. So the other thing that I just found, I'm reading from my phone. Did you know they were doing a Quantum Leap? Quantum Leap was sort of a reboot / sequel.
Really?
Yes.
No, I did not, but I thought that was called Sliders.
No. Quantum Leap because there is a show called Sliders.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but Quantum
I
Leap.
used to think.
Oh,
you
thought
Sliders all the time.
Right. I used to watch it too. I watched until they started changing characters. Like, I'm not interested anymore. But
later on, I think it was like somewhere around the 2nd or 3rd season. It was just like, oh, well, okay.
It's more like I think the 5th season. It went. I feel like it went on way too long.
Well, I mean, for back then it did. Shows run now for a good while, but
Right.
If you got 3 seasons in back then, that was a lot.
Right.
Some of our favorite shows we remember only lasted 2-3 seasons
Right.
max. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So but this is Quantum Leap. I think this had 4 seasons. So this is the one with Scott Bakula. So they're not really doing a remake. So the characters are still like the same characters. So Scott Bakula, they don't look like he's going to be in this, but it's about a guy that's looking for Scott Bakula. Because remember, Scott Bakula never
so
came
another
home.
leaper looking for another
Right. He's going to be doing the same thing.
So
going through.
So they like
else's
stalling
life.
until they can work things out with Scott, or
I don't know. I think if they ask, because he's on a different show or whatever, but I think as soon as he become available, he'd do it. But
I don't see why not.
Right. So the new doctor is named Dr. Ben Song, and he's just been cast, and that's the news, that he's been cast in a role. So Dr. Ben Song is going to be played by Raymond Lee. And I'm not familiar who Raymond Lee is, but that's the most significant casting. I don't think that they've cast his counterpart, the guy that's going to guide him through time, the way Sam guided Scott Bakula or Dr. Beckett through time, the hologram guy.
Yeah.
So that role hasn't been
Did he
cast
ever
yet.
leap home?
No, that's the thing. He never leaped home. I watched the last episode, and that was the saddest episode of that time. When you get the little message at the end of the episode that he never found his way home. I was like, no, say it isn't so.
Well, this could be good because especially if they put it like, okay, now we have the technology to pinpoint leaps.
Right.
So they're trying to find out where he is in order to get him back home,
Right.
It'd be a nice setup,
It'd be nice if he got back home, because I was, man, don't let it end that way.
Yeah.
So the other thing I found out was that The Flash and Aquaman, those 2 movies, have been moved to 2023.
Yes, I did hear that. Yes.
You heard about that. They've been pushed all the way back.
I heard about that.
I got that from deadline.com, and it looks like there's an update, but I didn't read it, so we're going to skip that. Just know that they've been pushed back, and some of the other DC movies have been reshuffled. HBO Max has orders the Penguin limited series as the Batman clocks in at $301 million at the global box office, and that was reported by deadline.com. So did you hear about that, about the Penguin?
Yeah. I heard about that before the Batman even came out.
Yeah,
I heard about them doing a Penguin series. Yeah,
right. So I guess
because I had Colin Farrell involved, and I remember reading about that.
Right.
So I'll watch that. I think I'm gonna watch that.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely. I don't know if it's gonna be as good as, like, say, what you call it, Peacemaker, but it'll be interesting. No. It'll be interesting to see what they did, because they announced that they were going to do a Gotham show as well. So basically,
another one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was going to be called GCPD, and I was thinking, nobody wants to watch that. We already have a Gotham show. We did that already. We don't need to do it again.
Exactly.
Right. So I think what happened was that HBO basically changed their mind, and they're basically, or it's a combination of HBO and the Batman director, and now they're kind of switching it to the Penguin series, or they morphed it or whatever. Okay. But that's it. That's all the stuff I heard. You heard anything?
Well, I got one. I got one. I heard, and I retweeted this because I don't think this is gonna go down, but they had Shazam and Avatar coming out on the same day.
Avatar.
I don't think they're not.
No, that can't.
They're not
happen.
gonna let that happen.
Yeah, that's gonna be a huge battle. And actually, some of the dates have been shuffled around. I didn't read the entire article. The only part of the article that I read was that the Flash Aquaman getting pushed back to next year. So I think they're probably going to shuffle around some of the other movies too, because I had read that they're shuffling around the other movies. So they're probably taking Shazam off of Avatar, because I think that would be a huge mistake.
Oh yeah,
I'm not even.
I don't know who will win.
Right.
I don't know who will win. Because I always got to remember I'm a little older than everybody else. So of course I'm like, oh, Avatar, because we've been waiting so long at that. But some of these kids, when Avatar came out, wasn't born. I mean,
Right,
you know,
right.
and they don't care about Avatar
Right,
2. You know, they haven't been waiting 20
right,
years. You know, they
right.
don't care. So,
Yeah,
you know,
and
I got to
it
think
could.
of it in that sense too. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I trust James Cameron. He's a great director. He has had way more hits than misses, and it's
oh
not like
yeah, oh
it's
by
not like
far.
the Wachowskis, because the Wachowskis, I feel like, don't have as many hits. So like when the because
Well, they
when
have the Matrix.
right, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking about the
Yeah,
Matrix and the last Matrix movie that came out. That was 20 years since the previous Matrix movies, and nobody really likes the sequels. Nobody really liked the last Matrix movie that came
yeah,
out.
I
And I'm
liked it.
thinking, and
I was a fan.
oh, you was, oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
I was a
one of the
fan
rare.
of it. I
I
liked
mean,
it.
there were some aspects that I liked about it, but I just didn't get the feeling, because when you go to a Matrix movie, you're looking for the feeling you got when you watched the very first Matrix movie,
Yes, you
and
do.
and
You
and
do.
that feeling was missing.
But I
So
did recommend to people, I said, look, before you go watch the new one, either just go to YouTube, look at a recap of the last 3 movies, you know,
right,
that came before this, and then go watch that one, and then things come together a little better for you.
right,
Because
right,
yeah, that's what I recommend. You still
right,
might not like it, but you'll understand it a little better, you know,
right.
what's going on, you know.
So
Yeah.
I hope that this doesn't happen to Avatar. So let's see what James Cameron does. Apparently he's been working on it. Like he
Yeah.
keeps talking about it. He wants to do like 7 movies or something like that. And
Yeah.
now he's fine.
Who's gonna finish them? His grandkids? I mean,
right. So I'm trying to.
7
So,
movies. You can't even get out a 2 in 20 years. Like how
right.
you,
I know
you
for
know,
a
come
fact.
on.
I know for a fact that it's going to look out. It's going to look. It's going to be like one of the most beautiful films that we've ever
It
seen. I have
better.
no doubt, because like the special effects at the time was awesome. So imagine
Yeah.
the technology has since been
Well,
vastly improved.
oh yeah, and I had heard back then that the reason it took 2 so long to come out because they didn't have the technology to do what he wanted to do.
Right,
So it was kind of like a Star Wars type deal. So
right.
now hopefully, you know, we'll see.
Yeah,
Now,
hopefully.
wouldn't that be something if it came out and it looked crappy? We'll be like, what?
Right. I think that it would win over the Flash though, because Warner Brothers with the DC movies has an even worse track record. So I think audience would, if they were head to
Yeah.
head, I think audience would rather take a chance with Avatar 2 than they would with the Flash. They would see Avatar 2 first, and then they would go see the Flash. I think that it
Yeah.
would work out that way, but
Yeah.
that would hurt the Flash in the box office.
Yeah. I don't understand DC. I don't understand why Snyder's not making all these movies. Like, why? He should be in charge of all this. The Snyder cut was great. Loved it. Loved the
Right.
Snyder cut.
There was some people, well, I wasn't a huge fan of the Snyder cut. I think that it was too long. He's trying to put too much in it. There was some
yeah,
that,
I mean, yeah.
there was some things that he put in it that he didn't, that was absolutely necessary.
You got to think of it this way. He had to, because he didn't complete the movie, you know? So unless he's going to reshoot the whole movie and cut out, you know what I mean? He had to just add to what was already there. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
he didn't
that's
have
why
to
it
put
was
them
4 hours.
He didn't have to put the Martian Manhunter in there. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, he did. I needed that.
As a matter of fact, he didn't even want to put the Martian Manhunter in there. He wanted Green Lantern. He shot the Green Lantern in his garage, but Warner Brothers would not let him use the Green Lantern. So he replaced the Green Lantern with Martian Manhunter. But
I needed to see the Martian Manhunter.
And the reason
it made me happy.
And the reason he did that is that he was trying to convince people that he had put the Martian Manhunter in Man of Steel. But then it kind of fell flat. So I guess in order to prove that was his intentions, he shot scenes with dude changing the Martian Manhunter. And then those scenes in Justice League didn't actually make sense. It was like, well, anyways, it's like they made money, but they didn't make Marvel money. Like they didn't, they wanted Batman v Superman to make, or Justice League, either one of those to make Marvel money. They made money, they didn't do as well. So that's why they kind of replaced him with other, like, because it was going to be all Max, it was going to be all Snyder's thing, right? It would be different directors, but he was going to be like the head of the whole thing. But then they took him off, and they basically let the directors do their own thing, and that's what's going on now.
You know, I have a feeling this is gonna be bad.
Well,
It's not gonna be good.
The Flashpoint is supposed to fix everything. The Flashpoint
No.
movie is going to
Yeah.
be Marvel. It's going to be DC versions of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but they're doing
Yes.
two different things. So, well, actually, they're pretty much doing the same thing. So, in the Multiverse of Madness, they're going to explore the multiverse, and there are rumors that they're pulling in other Marvel characters. So maybe they're pulling the Fantastic Four. Maybe they're pulling the X-Men or the mutants. So we'll see. But
I don't know.
But there are definitely more than one Doctor Strange. There's definitely more than one Scarlet Witch in the movie.
Yeah.
And there's definitely, going to be the Illuminati. So
yeah, Marvel. I'm not worried about it on the Marvel side of things.
Right.
They're great. They're good.
And
but
so
on DC, I heard rumors like they're gonna replace, like, it's not gonna be Batman, it's gonna be Batgirl because of the Flashpoint and No,
they're going to do that. Well, it's a rumor. We don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But the other rumor is that Michael Keaton is going to be the Batman in the DC
that's
universe.
confirmed. Yeah. He shot his scenes. That's confirmed.
And he's going to be in 2 DC movies. So
yeah.
And
I wonder, is he gonna be like the same Batman that was in these older movies, or he just reprising like a different Batman role?
I think he's going to be the same Batman, but he's not going to be in like the same universe as the Flash, as the Snyderverse.
So this is what I'm wondering. Okay, so in the Flashpoint animated, right?
Right.
The animated Flashpoint, when Flash did what he did, it went back and Bruce Wayne wasn't Batman. Bruce Wayne was killed when he was a child. He got shot, and his dad was Batman.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's what they're going to do with it. Yeah.
Right, yeah. After the Flash changed the past, then the Bruce Wayne was killed and Thomas Wayne became Batman.
Wayne lived and became Batman to revenge his son's death.
Right.
So I wonder if he's going to play Thomas Wayne.
That's a good question.
These new movies, yeah.
That'd be an interesting choice. That'd be a great fake out too, right? Because they're saying that Michael Keaton is Batman, but they're not saying that he's playing Bruce Wayne.
He's Bruce Wayne, yeah.
So that would be an interesting fake out. So that's good you brought that up. So I'm gonna do some announcements. We're back. Once again, thanks for joining us. As a reminder, you can keep up with us by following us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook at Backlook Cinema Podcast, and on Twitter at Backlook Cinema. We encourage you to leave feedbacks, comments, suggestions, etc. Or you can email us at fanmail@backlookcinema.com. Now we're going to our next segment. We're going to talk about our favorite parts. So tell me, Rocky, what were your favorite parts of Batman Returns? You haven't seen this movie before, right?
I have seen the movie. I just haven't seen it since I was 10.
10. And when you were 10, it was your favorite movie, wasn't it?
Couldn't tell me nothing. Right?
And now what happened? What happened? Man. You're not telling me it didn't age, are you?
This movie aged horribly. This movie, the ridiculousness of this movie is, if this was made today, you know what I mean?
Right.
It would be a comedy spoof.
Right.
It would be a spoof on Batman, right?
Right.
Because that's basically what this movie kind of is. It's the entertainment value is there. Don't get me wrong. The movie is highly entertaining. Maybe for the wrong reasons, but it's highly entertaining. I guess, oh man, it's hard to pick a favorite part. It's so many great moments in this movie. Let's just go with I know one of my favorite things was just when and it's small stuff I look at, small stuff. When the Batman signal hits in the beginning, the first time it shows up and Bruce Wayne's just kind of sitting there like he's waiting for it to hit, and then when it does, he hits his mirror and it reflects on all his stuff. The way he turns and looks at it, with that heroic look. It's like, oh man, mwah, perfect.
Right. Super dramatic. Super dramatic.
Super dramatic.
Right.
Super dramatic. It's just the movie was just, man. The Penguin by himself. Penguin has so many great one-liners and parts and and stuff I noticed now that I'm older that was inappropriate, that he says. And now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have, you didn't get when you were a kid. And it's just his whole look, it was just, it was great.
Yeah.
The movie was great.
Right.
It was, very fun. Bad but fun.
Right. Back then it was iconic, but now it's so bad it's good.
Exactly.
And the story made less sense than the first Batman movie. There was some gaping holes that they had in the movie. But they actually, like, Michael Keaton and Tim Burton actually liked it better than the first Batman movie. But
really,
yeah,
actually I did too. I mean, the first, don't get me wrong, the first Jack Nicholson nailed the Joker. He nailed it in the first Batman movie. And but the second one was just pure entertainment. Like throughout the movie, like they had comedy and suspense, and it was funny, and it was like it was kind of like a comedy horror. You know what I mean? Like,
it was. That actually has some horror elements. What's interesting is that we should have been warned when Paul Rubin was one of the first people you see in the movie when the movie begins. So we didn't talk about him in the opening credits, but Paul Rubin, after his scandal, this is one of the first projects he appeared in, and he appears as Mr. Cobblepot. He played the Penguin's father. So and I didn't.
And for those who don't know, he's talking about Pee Wee Herman.
Right.
Yeah,
Pee Wee Herman.
He's talking about Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman from Pee Wee's Playhouse, that's played by Paul Rubin. Did not act like Pee Wee Herman at all in this movie.
No. He was not at all.
Right.
Can you believe that Pee Wee Herman was in this movie?
That was crazy. And then this is the only other superhero movie that I know him from when he was a lot more redeemed was what's it called? Mystery Man. Have you seen that one?
Mystery. Yeah. I have. Yes.
Yeah. One of my favorite superhero movies.
Yeah, I don't know, but I got notes on this movie of different things. So whenever you're ready, I will unleash.
Go ahead. Let me know what your notes are.
Okay, all right. Let's start from the beginning here. So first off, right, the way the Penguin is, like, as a child, they get rid of the Penguin like in the most horrible way.
Right.
Like they literally, he's born with deformities. They're like, we don't want this kid, and they literally put him in a sewer.
Right. They put him in it looks like a river, and the river kind of led to a sewer, or a stream or something like that.
He just kind of drains down, drains down and ends up in an old zoo.
Right.
And then that brings us to animal rights. I mean, who has his own zoo? Like, Gotham animals still in a leftover zoo? Like,
right.
Well, what are we doing, Gotham?
Only the penguins are left over. I guess they
just the penguins.
Right, just the penguins. Somehow they missed the penguins when they closed the zoo down. And then how they kept that child in a cage, right? And I want to say that the child had to have been 5 years old, because he's already standing up, grabbing cats and whatnot. Because I don't know if they want to give you the impression that he was an infant, but that if the child is already standing up, that'd be the wrong impression that he was an infant. So I'm guessing that he was around 5 when they decided to throw him down the river or stream or whatever, when they threw him over the bridge.
Well, I went and read on some of the little Wicca, right?
Yeah.
And they're saying from birth he displayed unusual strength and monster tendencies.
Okay.
So he was supposedly born with some type of powers, supposedly.
Well, that'd be par for the course.
I don't write this. I'm just
so we're saying that in this movie, Penguin was a mutant.
Yes, he was a mutant. Yes, he was a mutant. Yes. That's what I gathered.
Right.
You know, in Marvel Universe, he was being considered a mutant.
Right.
All right. So also there was a high level of sexism and misogynistic behavior in this movie, you know, especially around like the Catwoman, and you know, when she comes in and she's like, I got an idea, and it was like, you know, laughed her off, and she's like getting all the men coffee, you know what I mean? It was just a high level of that, you know. I talked about the bat signal thing already. That was just crazy.
Right.
This is my favorite Batmobile that ever appeared in a movie. That's my favorite Batmobile.
Yeah.
Batmobile was great. The suit, man. Could you imagine having to wear that suit to film in? I see why Michael Keaton quit after 2 movies.
Well, actually,
I mean, he couldn't turn his head.
it was slightly improved because they added a zipper for him.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, so his suit was slightly better than Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman suit, and we'll get that. We'll talk about that later on. Unless you already know already.
No, I don't have any notes on her.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you handle Catwoman.
Right.
But yeah, that suit was just horrible. The Penguin looked incredibly rough to be a man only in his mid-30s, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was foaming this green slime out of his mouth.
Slime, so he looked 100 years old.
Right.
I mean, it was just,
yeah.
You know,
Dark
Danny
eyes.
DeVito killed it though. By the way, he killed it. Okay, so I'll come back to this next one because I'll come back to that one. Okay. Catwoman getting her powers by being thrown out a window and bit by cats.
Bit and licked by cats. Yes.
Cats. That's ridiculous. That's just all the way ridiculous.
That
made no sense.
That was one of the things that never made sense. Like even when I first watched the movie, it never made sense. Like, what is that? All they're doing is just cats licking her, and that's it.
So
right?
apparently these cats have power to bring you back to life. Also, I mean,
you know how when she came back, she had zombie-like tendencies. To me, it felt like she was a zombie. Like she walked in her house and she repeated the same things that she said when she was alive.
Yeah.
And then she was like trying to pour milk, but she's spilling it all over the place.
Yeah.
And then trying to drink milk, but she's spilling it on herself.
That whole sequence just didn't make any sense to me. It was just like, what is this?
Well,
you know,
I liked that. I just didn't like. I just never liked her being brought back to life by cats, right? Because it seemed apropos of absolutely nothing. Like I wish there was something else, like maybe she electrocuted herself and then got licked by cats. I would have bought that, right? Because she had the little shocker thing. She had
exactly
right,
but just being licked by cats and then you wake up and go home. You know, it's like what?
give me something else.
Yeah. All right. So the acting was great. Walken, Keaton, Pfeiffer, DeVito, they all did awesome jobs.
Right.
Awesome jobs. The acting was good. I mean, you know, I believe he was the Batman. I believe she was Catwoman. You know, I believe the Penguin was the Penguin. And Walker played another villain, you know, just a regular scumbag villain, you know.
Right.
He was just good. Yeah, I like that. The Penguin's umbrella defied the laws of physics a lot. I didn't understand how that umbrella was able to lift a man who weighed an easy 250.
Right.
You know,
what I enjoyed is that he had a series umbrella. Like he had different umbrellas. I really like that. They all had different umbrellas.
Yes, he did.
And
he always seemed to have the right one at the right time.
Right. So whatever gadgets that Batman had, the Penguin basically had his own gadgets. And yeah, they especially the helicopter. You're referring to the helicopter umbrella. Yeah. That when he deployed the helicopter, it could lift him and fly him around. And so that was that's definitely incredible. That's like,
how do you land? I mean,
well, he just slowed it down, I guess.
I don't know. Okay,
it's like it didn't have a steering mechanism or anything.
No, it just knew where he was going.
Right.
Okay, I do got one note on the Catwoman costume. It was not much of a disguise. Like, you know, he should have been able to tell that was her simply by just the eyes, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It clearly looked like her still. You know, it wasn't much of a disguise.
Yeah, her and her voice, but I'm willing to forgive that. Because her costume is like one of the best Catwoman costumes on screen. So that's something like I'm willing to forgive. But
Okay. Right.
I haven't seen another, like, even in the latest movie, while her costume made sense and it was realistic, it was also rather dull and boring, right?
Yeah,
Because it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just put this
but
hat over my head, and then and
yeah,
now
but
I'm in the
it was
sky.
a poor girl's costume, which she was a poor girl
Yeah.
supposedly. All right, Catwoman falling in the kitty litter. So cheesy, so cheesy. When she
Which,
falls out, she's like, "Oh, saved by kitty litter." It's
right,
so
right,
much of
right,
that type of stuff in this movie. It's just ugh.
right.
Okay, now here's one right here. The Penguins gang, right? These guys are some of the best engineers in the world.
Yeah,
Think about what they accomplished.
right.
They were able to break in the Batmobile, take it apart, install remote steering in it, put in a two-way video deal to the Penguin, also go back, build him a mock-up model of the Batmobile so he can remote control it himself. Batman should have clearly tried to hire those guys after the movie,
What's
clearly.
funny is that me and Zach had a little conversation before I started recording, and his biggest question is, where did they get the schematics for the Batmobile? They just had it up on the wall. I was like, where did that come from?
These guys were awesome.
They had the
did you
schematics
see?
for the
And they
Batmobile.
did it in they did it a couple hours.
Right, they did it in
like...
a couple hours. They had the Batmobile almost completely disassembled. They went through all the wire work and whatnot.
That's right.
Then put it back together.
Put it all back together.
They had the remote control of the Batmobile.
Put the shield back on it.
Right. They knew
these guys were
At.
awesome.
Yeah, those guys were
the Red Triangle Gang does not get enough credit. Those guys were.
It's they built all the gadgets. They had like at the beginning of the movie when they first attacked Gotham. They had the giant present box that they had built. They had all of the Penguin's vehicles. The
rubber duck, the big rubber ducky,
the big rubber duck. They probably built all of his gadgets. I can't imagine
those
him
guys,
doing it.
Forget Lucius Fox,
right?
Those guys in there. Those guys were great, man.
Those guys were outstanding.
I was truly impressed by them.
Right.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're the best gang in any Batman movie I ever seen. Honestly, most of the time the guys come out with guns, they get beat up or whatever. These guys here had engineering feats. They were on it.
Clearly,
very impressed. Here's another one. Where did the audience get fruits and vegetables from to throw at the Penguin?
And as a matter of fact, that's even what the Penguin says. He's like, why does everybody always have rotten fruit to a press conference, right?
Exactly. Like, where did this come from? Where did that come from? That was weird.
Yeah, it's a trope that they've been using for like decades, right? Especially in older movies, but still. And they're purposely rotten. Like they're waiting for him to say something wrong.
Exactly. And this isn't a movie from 1952.
Right,
this is a movie from 1992.
Right.
And they threw vegetables.
Right.
That's why I say it's like a spoof on Batman. You know what I mean? All right. My next one was this one. I laughed out loud because I forgot all about this. This man had an army of penguins.
Right.
Trained penguins with rockets on their backs.
Right.
That is hilarious.
Right. Not to mention his burial in the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, these penguins were so smart. What? Where did that even come from? Were they, were they chemically enhanced penguins, or they just,
I don't know what's up with the penguins, but it was like they were something special.
Weaponized penguins.
We do have that in the beginning, Max Schreck. So he has some kind of factory and is pouring like chemical waste into the water, into the environment.
Yeah. So maybe
the penguins ate some of that waste. Maybe they're
chemically
right. They got mutated. Maybe the Catwoman was bitten by mutated cats.
Maybe, yeah. So okay, yeah, maybe. So here's my last one here, right? So Batman has a no killing policy, right? Batman doesn't kill.
Not in these movies. Not in especially in these two movies. Like he says it a lot in the cartoon.
Right.
And then in the comics, he says it a lot. But even in the comics, there's been a lot of Batman killing or questionable decisions by Batman in the comics.
Well,
but in this movie, go ahead.
Despite him not killing, supposedly, or being against killing. It's even a part where he tries to talk Catwoman out of killing. He kills 3 people in this movie.
Right.
3 people. He kills the Penguin. He kills Catwoman once.
Right.
And he also kills the guy he set on fire with the Batmobile.
Oh, you missing one.
Oh, it's another one? Who's the other one?
That the big he had ripped this, he got this bomb from somewhere. One of the Penguin's bombs, and he's just walking around with it. And then he runs into this huge guy.
Yeah.
And then he's trying to punch the guy,
right.
but the guy doesn't react. So he puts the bomb in the guy's pants and then pushes him down the sewer, and the guy blows
4
up.
people. Yes,
and the guy
has a body count in this movie.
Right. Well, the guy that he burned, if the guy just stopped, drop, and roll, he may have survived, right? But
that guy died. He wasn't stopping, dropping, and rolling. He's dead. He's done for.
So yeah, Batman. He's not averse to killing. He just doesn't like to use guns unless the guns are attached to his vehicles, and then
then he can.
Then it's whatever. Right.
Maybe they're rubber bullets. Who knows? Right?
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got. But the movie, to sum it all up, the movie was very ridiculous.
Right.
It was definitely it seemed like a spoof on Batman to me. It's not. I look at it more like a comedy now than I do like a. But it was one of the most entertaining Batman films of all the Batman films that came out.
Right.
My personal opinion,
When I was looking up what critics were thinking, one of the critics was like Joe Schumacher gets a lot of criticism for making Batman too campy, right?
Yeah.
So, and Joe Schumacher admittedly drew inspiration from the 1966 TV show. So that's why it kind of looks like that. But this guy was like, well, the campiness kind of began with Batman Returns, right? And so I think he probably has a point. After watching this movie, I think he has a point. Like, I think there's definitely. I hate to use the word campy for this movie, but this movie has a little bit camp to it, right? So it's just. I think that
a lot of
it's because the atmosphere of this movie, the lighting, the makeup, how dark this movie was, how it was shot. I think that's what gives it the because it has a darker feeling, it doesn't feel campy, but the story definitely has some issues and complications. So there was
definitely
there. I mean, he didn't put bat nipples in the costume. He didn't do that.
He didn't do that.
He doesn't have like a Batman credit card, and he doesn't have ice skates on demand. So those things, I think, had kind of messed up Batman. I think those are the things that, like, if he didn't do those things, that I think his movies would be better regarded. But yeah, the story had a lot of gaps in it. So,
how many Tim Burton made?
He only made the first 2.
Just the first 2, yeah.
Right.
So
and then I think Joe Schumacher made the last 2. So that my favorites were the story gaps. So it was like what Catwoman's motivations didn't like make all that sense all the time. Like all she really wanted was to get revenge on Max Schreck, but she kept shifting her allegiances some kind of way. Like then she needed to fight Batman, and that didn't really make sense for her to fight Batman or anything like that. But and then like she was a complicated character. But but then again, she's brought back to life. She's not all the way normal, so I can kind of forgive her if I think about it in those terms. That because she was killed and came back, and
she was a zombie.
Killed.
Remember,
she's basically a zombie, right?
Basically
she's a zombie that keeps coming back, and she had all of her zombie especially when she was killed the first time by Max Schreck and brought back to I guess zombiehood by the cats, and then when she returned to her apartment, she acted just like a zombie. And I kind of like that part. And, she's spilling milk all over the place. And then when she goes into her room, she had that neon sign that said, what did it say?
Here, hell or something, or hell's here, or some of that effect.
It said, welcome here. Hold on. Hello. It said the second one was hello. And the first one was something. I can't remember. But she smashed out some of the lights till it read something hell. Something.
Yeah.
Like so she did that. And then like at first she wanted to team up with the Penguin, and then she wanted to team up with Batman. One of my favorite parts of the movie is how Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle figured out who each other was. So in the earlier part of the movie, when they were in costume,
when they're at the party,
right? When they're in the costume, when I guess it was their first fight, and Bruce or Batman, he looks up and he sees a mistletoe, and that's when he made a comment: a mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it. And then Catwoman licks him, and she said, "It's even deadlier if you mean it." Right? A kiss can be deadly if you mean it. And then when they were at the costume party, they flipped it, and Bruce Wayne says the thing about the kiss or whatever, and then they realized who each other was. Like, we said this, we were here before, right?
Yeah.
So that was the neat part. I really like that part. And then there was a part when they were Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle, and they were on a date, and they were in the mansion, and then they start kissing and whatever, and then Selena Kyle had started to go to the wounds that she gave Bruce Wayne as Batman.
Oh yeah,
and then he
goes to her wounds.
And then they realize, oh, we can't do this right now.
Because we're hurt. We're both hurt.
Right, we're both hurt, and don't want you to find out about this disgusting scar I have on my arm. Right. So
I'll tell you another part that was somewhere around there when he's talking to Alfred, and he's like, Alfred says something about security. And he goes, security? He goes, Vicky, I'm sitting in the Batcave working, and Vicky walks up.
Right.
Hey, how you doing?
Right. Right, Vicky, welcome to the Batcave. Yeah. That was cool. That he got called out. Alfred got called out on lack of security.
Lack of security, Poor Alfred, man.
Right. So this movie was definitely fun, but it didn't age well, but it was fun.
It did not.
Then we didn't talk about Max Schreck. So Max Schreck, he was played by Christopher Walken. He was awesome. I like the way that whenever he was in trouble, he immediately tried to make a deal, right? So
automatically. Now, was he in any other Batman related stuff? Or he was just a character original to this? Right. I don't remember him.
I think he's a character original to this movie. He may have been introduced in the animated series at some point, but I only remember him from this movie. So what's neat about it is that when, like I said, he's always making a deal. So one of the deals he made is like the Penguin was going to take Max Schreck's son hostage, and then Max was like, "Come on, you don't want him. You want me, right? You want me, right? I'm the one you want revenge on." And then the how the Penguin was conflicted. You can see it on his face, and whether he wanted to take Max or Max's son. And so then he made the choice of taking Max himself, because that's who he really wanted to kill. And then the other part was when they, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we just lost power a little bit. They're trying to shut us down. We're back up. We're back online. We can't be shut down.
It's a conspiracy, huh?
It's a conspiracy. We're going to keep broadcasting because you can't stop the revolution. So, and as I told Rocky earlier, I didn't forget what we was talking about on our favorite parts. He was saying something. I was saying something. We were saying some stuff, and and then we lost connection. And now what we were talking about is totally gone.
Yeah.
We were talking about Batman and stuff. So we're gonna move on to the next segment. And the next segment is the trivia segment. Trivia from IMDb. So I'm going to start us off. At least 50% of the Warner Brothers lot was taken up with the Gotham City sets. Burgess Meredith. Oh shoot, that's the next one. I might as well read it. So basically, this whole movie was shot on the soundstage. So it was unlike later movies when they actually went out and went into a city and used a real city as stand-in for Gotham City. Everything was, which is why Gotham City looks as gothic as it does in the Tim Burton movies. Somebody said, like in the latest Batman movie, that that Gotham City was like their favorite Gotham City, or the most real, or whatever. It was definitely the most real. But this Gotham is my favorite Gotham because any Gotham that they use later on, it's like it could as easily be Detroit or New York City,
And
or
yes.
it looks like.
And that was my problem with the Batman movie.
Right. The Batman movie was like New York City because they even had like what you call it, a Times Square. They had a Gotham City Times Square and everything. So I was like, but somebody said that was their favorite. It was like, it's just the same, and I don't mind, I don't care, but it's not. It doesn't stand out as its own city. So I would say that, and I think this was shot in Canada, I believe. But yeah, the Tim Burton Gotham cities were my favorite, and I think the Joel Schumacher films basically continued with that. But
it was the more mythical, city. It can't just be any American city. This is, it kind of looked 1940-ish. It had that kind of vibe to it with the cars and stuff.
Right.
But I liked it.
So
which one?
Next?
Oh,
well, I get this, because I didn't highlight it correctly.
Yeah.
But anyway, Burgess Meredith, who played the Penguin on Batman in 1966, and he was asked to play the Penguin's father in the opening of the film, but illness prevented him from it. So before they got Paul Rubin, they was going to get Burgess Meredith.
So, hold on. So we went from Burgess Meredith to Pee Wee Herman.
Right. But here's the thing, though. He would have been old. He would have been an old father.
Real.
He would have been an old father. But
you're right about that. You're right.
Then they switched it up. All right.
And I heard this one before. Danny DeVito remained in character between takes.
Right. So he was basically as rude and ornery when they weren't shooting as they was when they were shooting.
And how could you not? I mean, you got green stuff spewing out your mouth. How you gonna talk to somebody seriously during those? You know what I mean? So
right.
I can understand that completely.
Right. So the production wanted to use king penguins, but the only tame ones in captivity were the birds in a sanctuary at Cotswold, deep in the English countryside. So the birds were flown over to the States in a refrigerated hold of a plane. They were given their own refrigerated trailer and swimming pool with half a ton of fresh ice every day, and had fresh fish delivered daily straight from the docks. Even though the temperature outside frequently topped 100 degrees, the entire set was refrigerated down to 35 degrees. The penguins also had an around-the-clock bodyguard. The birds clearly enjoyed the experience, as following their stint in Hollywood, most of them had mated and produced eggs, the sure sign of a contented penguin. So that's funny.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm glad the penguins had a good time out there.
Right. They totally leaned into the penguin's motive.
Exactly. Danny DeVito was advised by friend Jack Nicholson, aware of his own financial success with Batman in 1989, to take the role of the Penguin. Well, of course he was.
Yeah. It was like,
could you imagine that conversation?
Yeah. So Danny DeVito goes like, Jack, you think I should take this role? And Jack was like, shit, you better take that role.
Yeah. Like, well, All right, got the next.
Oh no, you can go ahead. No, hold on a second. No, I see. Yeah, that is me.
Okay,
thanks.
Okay,
I'm messing up. So the massive Gotham City sets were all constructed to be mobile and were often shifted between days of filming. Michelle Pfeiffer routinely got lost on her way to filming each day, so that's kind of fun.
Well, what's fun is she was driving herself. Michelle was already kind of a star.
No, when she was on the set, she got lost.
Oh,
they
on
were
the set.
building.
Okay, I thought they were on the way to the
right.
set.
Right.
Okay.
So they're moving the buildings and stuff because the sets are mobile. Oh, actually, no. Hold on a second. I think you're right. Yeah, she got lost on her way to the set. Right. So she's driving herself.
She's driving herself.
Right.
Huh.
Right.
I thought Michelle was kind of a big star by then, but okay. All right. In an interview for television, Stan Winston told a little anecdote about how his crew were collecting the mechanical penguins after days shoot, and found one of them to be live penguins snuggled up asleep against a mechanical one.
Right. It's like,
okay,
this mechanical penguin gonna be my baby.
That's it. The penguin's getting a little too frisky, huh?
Right,
Okay.
right. So when asked during a 2007 talk show appearance after if she ever felt nostalgic and put on the cat suit to amuse her husband, David E. Kelly, Michelle Pfeiffer stated that once filming was over, she never wanted to see the costume again for as long as she lived. So that's awesome.
I bet.
Like, no.
Because that thing, yeah, I could tell that probably wasn't, especially trying to. Could you imagine a stunt double having to do flips in that thing?
Right, right. not comfortable.
Yeah, not comfortable at all. Danny DeVito refused a stand-in for the scene where the penguin gets pelted with rotten food by an angry mob.
Right.
Good
we
for
were
him.
Just talking
Good
about that.
I don't know if it's in here, but I wanted to know how they fake the fake fish, because that fish looked mighty real.
That's because it was real. He ate real raw fish.
Well, I was hoping that wouldn't be the answer.
Well, people eat raw fish,
Yes, but that was just
well, yeah. He was like, "I'm the penguin. I'm gonna eat this fish."
Oh,
yeah. The actors go all out in this movie.
Yeah, that was a commitment,
right? So while on the Graham Norton show in 2007, Danny DeVito talked about the first take with the monkey handing him the note from the Batman. Do you remember that part?
Yeah.
So apparently the monkey was frightened by the makeup and colored drool of the penguin and attacked Danny's family jewels region. Lucky the suit he had to wear was very padded and he was fine. They got the shot after Danny put on a new suit. So
that's funny.
What's interesting about that is that's one of the things that monkeys do when they get into a fight is they start to attack your the genitalia. That's like that's one of their prime targets, and the other target is your face. So if they can't bite your face off, they will try to pull off your ding dongs. So
okay. Well, all right.
Right.
Fast fact about monkeys.
Right, yeah. Just in case you encounter a monkey, that's
right. Protect your family jewels.
Right, and your face.
All right. Michael Keaton was alleged to have earned $11 million for reprising the role as Batman. The Warner Brothers executives were very uneasy with this. However, director Tim Burton stated that he personally believed Keaton deserved it.
Yeah.
Only 11 million. Not by today's standards. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was 11 million back. Actually, back then, Tom Cruise was getting like 20 million. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But like Michael Keaton was like up and coming at the time.
Yeah, so, he was. But you would think after Batman 1 was a success, you would think, and they're still skeptical on him,
And not only skeptical, but they being cheap. That's what they were. They were
yeah.
So,
I mean, the movie earned what 300 million or something
something like that, right? And this one earned
that man a little piece,
Yeah, I know, right. You ain't spending that much money.
Yeah, exactly.
So 7 million. So several modifications were made to the Batsuit, including the color scheme and the chest plate logo. At the request of Michael Keaton, a zipper was added to the pants. Man, the actors be wanting them zippers, boy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that thing looks so uncomfortable. And could you imagine without a zipper, he had to go to the bathroom, peel off rubber pants.
Which he can't he can't dress or undress himself. They would need an entire crew to take the suit off.
Exactly.
If he had to go pee.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. And I feel like it could be so easy to design a suit with a zipper where the zipper wasn't exposed, but
you would think,
but I think
just a little flap over that part,
right.
I
think costume designers are lazy and they don't want to do nothing. So it looks better this way.
Yeah, exactly. According to casting director Marion Doherty, Tim Burton was reportedly uncomfortable with casting Christopher Walken as Max Schreck. When she asked him why, he said, "Because the man scares the hell out of me." However, the decision must have ultimately grown on Burton, as Walken was cast again in Sleepy Hollow, 1999. He was also cast to play Brainiac in the aborted Superman Lives project. I didn't know that. Now, Superman Lives, that was supposed to be with Nicolas Cage.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
That is correct. They actually have, if you can find it on YouTube, they have images, they have video of him doing the screen test for the
Yeah.
Superman Lives costume. And yeah, he was going to have long hair and
Yeah.
he
That'd
had
have been
it was
kind
like
of cool, I guess. I mean,
I don't like it. I don't like the way
you didn't like it.
no, Nicolas Cage does not look like Superman to me.
No, he
Like his
doesn't.
face,
He
his
doesn't. But
face is all wrong. And I feel
yeah,
like they just would have given him like a muscle suit instead of him actually having muscles. Like
yeah.
nope, that worked. I mean, maybe he would have been outstanding, but I'm glad they did that. I'm glad that movie didn't move forward.
It would have been like Con Air, you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
that Nicolas Cage, man.
Yeah, nope, I'm not down with that. So anyways,
Not down with it, huh? Not with it.
not with it. Danny DeVito, whose makeup as the Penguin took 3 hours to be applied every morning, removed one of the cabinets in the makeup trailer and put in a laser disc machine and a television. While they were putting on the makeup, he brought in his favorite movies and watched them in the mirror. So Danny DeVito was fancy. He didn't have a CD player. He had a laser disc.
You remember how big those things were?
Yeah, it was gigantic, but it had like CD quality. Because they had compact discs for music, but they didn't have.
Yeah, they had
video
DVDs.
cassettes,
Yeah.
Right. They didn't have DVDs, so
and the laser disc was huge.
Right,
they were
gigantic,
super big disc, and
right.
And they cost oh my god, they cost so much. Yeah,
right. The discs were expensive, the players were expensive. It was like only the elite, like Danny DeVito.
Well, I remember in school, in school back then, it was like a big deal to have one on campus, like, and it like cost the district so much, so we had to like share it with other schools in the district.
Right.
Yeah.
Seems like a waste of money, right?
Yeah,
like it probably just could have bought a bunch of DVD
a VHS.
Right.
We had VHSs. So Warner Brothers had to consistently submit new Catwoman posters for various cities, as many of the bus stop ads were being stolen. It got so bad that police officers had to patrol bus stops in order to catch perpetrators before they could break the plexiglass containers. The large-scale Catwoman bus ads are now worth a great deal of money. I bet they are.
I was about to say, I imagine so, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't keep them in place, and that's Michelle Pfeiffer in a cat suit. I mean, that's irresistible.
Exactly. If I had known enough back then, I definitely would have stolen one of those. Like that, I would have definitely committed that crime.
Right. So,
but I probably wouldn't it'd have been one of those things where I would have stolen one of them, and today I'd have been like, "Where is that thing? If I only had it,
right,
sell it for a bunch of money."
So on biography Catwoman, Her Many Lives from 2004, Michelle Pfeiffer said that her Catwoman costume was vacuum sealed once she was fitted into it for scenes. So she actually only had a short amount of time to perform before she would have to have it open, or she would become lightheaded and pass out. She also admitted that when she first was learning to use the whip, she accidentally cut her trainer's face with it, at which he acted as a complete gentleman and continued with their training. So that catsuit was the worst, right? You're in it. It's not enough that it was already tight, but then they vacuum sealed you in the suit. That's ridiculous.
I wonder how much she got. If he got 11 million, how much Pfeiffer get? I wonder.
Probably not. Definitely not as much. I mean, I'd be surprised if she got like $2 million.
Yeah,
here's something
probably.
else. Another one of my favorite parts about Catwoman. Oh no, I done forgot. It was something I just thought of when I was looking at the what you call it, the thing with her in the suit. I'll remember it later. Go ahead. My bad.
Batman doesn't wear boots in the movie. Their Air Jordan 6s connected to an upper, which give the boot-like feeling. Nice.
Yeah, you're a sneakerhead. You know about that.
That is nice. Better than the Doc Martens they had in the new one.
So neither Tim Burton nor Michael Keaton had been signed up in advance for a sequel. Burton came on board only after the script met all of his demands. He hadn't been entirely happy with the Batman 1989 screenplay, while Keaton only agreed to do the second film after a serious hike in salary, and Burton's assurance that it would be mostly a standalone movie rather than a direct sequel. So we see.
No, I was thinking I can see that how this movie could have been like a standalone. The only difference is like, he has a back signal already, so they acknowledge, that he's already in the city. You know what I
Right.
mean? That we know who Batman is, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, I could see that.
they were going to have a lot more references to the previous movie, but
Yeah.
the only reference they have is Vicky Vale. They
Yeah.
took out all the other
And nothing to the
references.
Joker or anything.
Right.
Now in the wiki, like I said, I read the wiki on it. They were saying like how, and I guess I don't know if this was script notes that got taken out or whatever, but how the Penguin was influenced by Joker and Batman running around the city in mask and whatnot, and started to put together his own, gang and toys and weapons and stuff like that. So
Right.
I don't, like I said, I don't know if it was taken from the original story or just speculation or what, but
yeah, I think they changed that because he was already part of the circus, so the circus was his gang. So,
yeah.
And they made everything. So I think that's where his background is a circus. So I don't think he was influenced by the Joker.
Yeah. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay. The cat suit was so tight on Michelle Pfeiffer that she often had trouble hearing her own voice. Tim Burton had to tell her to lower her voice register because she would often shout her dialogue instead of just saying it.
Yeah.
That sounds brutal, man.
Yeah, it was brutal. Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer could not cut a break. But she survived, so that's awesome. Security was security was so tight on production that even Kevin Costner was refused permission to visit the set. Warner Brothers employed a private investigative firm when some shots of Danny DeVito in costume made it into the tabloids. It was like, yeah, they was like,
what are y'all doing?
They're doing what Disney is doing now, right?
Yeah, that's funny. Michelle Pfeiffer went through 60 cat suits during a 6-month shoot at a cost of $1,000 a piece. Wow, 60 grand on just cat suits.
Right. No,
wow,
that's 60 grand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a wow. Right.
Yeah.
That's a big production.
Yeah.
It's funny, right? Because the suit is made to look like it was like she sewed it herself, right?
Yeah. It's like pieced together,
right?
But in reality, it was $1,000.
Right, it's $1,000 suit. So during one scene, Michelle Pfeiffer put a live bird in her mouth. They had bird puppets on set, but Michelle Pfeiffer thought they all looked too fake. So she put that. So the scene where she's negotiating with the Penguin.
Yeah, she eats. Yeah,
she put the actual bird in her mouth. I was like, oh my! And then when it flies out, I was like, man, that looks real.
Man, this they definitely got the right people for this movie. Raw fish, live bird,
right?
They just don't. They're really dedicated to this.
Yeah.
This was before Jared Leto too. Before that method of acting.
I mean, method acting has been around for a long time.
But I know.
Even that going to so far as to actually eat raw fish, or going so far as to actually put a live animal in your mouth. That's beyond method.
It's kind of beyond.
That's different. Yeah.
It's kind of beyond.
And it's like you don't have to be a method actor to do that. It's just dedication. I just appreciate the dedication of the actors doing that. And it never crossed my mind that should have been like a fake bird or a computer animated bird. That never crossed my mind. It's
just a quick side note: the two best stories I ever heard about like that kind of acting was Daniel Day-Lewis. They said I think it was There Will Be Blood.
Right.
Stayed in character the complete whole time. Action or no action, he was just that guy.
Right.
The whole time.
I've heard.
And then and then the other one was Will Ferrell. They said in between skits on Saturday Night Live, Will Ferrell would not break character sometimes,
Oh, wow.
To the point where they said other actors would hold him down and like start beating on his legs and trying to get him to break character. and one of these times he was like playing some kind of French guy and he just kept screaming out and yelling out for help in French.
That's pretty awesome. That's awesome. I love actor dedication.
Oh yeah. All right. For the role, let me see. Yeah, okay. For the role of Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer trained at the Steel Boxer kickboxing gym 2 hours a day for 6 months. She also practiced yoga, weightlifting, and karate. Additionally, she spent 3 months training in a 12-foot bullwhip. Pfeiffer called that one of her most challenging roles, and critics called it one of her most iconic roles that is famous forever.
That is correct.
After reading all this, I see why there's no sequel to this movie. Like, this was it.
Well, they didn't make a Catwoman movie based on Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, it should have been Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman movie, and they never did it.
She couldn't have did it, but she couldn't have did it.
I don't know.
Could you imagine a whole movie? Huh?
No, I'm just saying she's still young. She could have did it.
No, but could you imagine her being vacuumed into that suit for a whole movie where she's the star?
Well, here's what I would think. I would think that they probably would have changed the costume a little bit so she's more comfortable, because she would have made that demand.
Yeah, they would have had to.
And the other thing is that I don't think she would have been in costume the entire time. Like, it's her movie, but you're like, when you're a superhero, you're not in superhero costume the entire time. So I think
they would have. True.
She probably wouldn't have been in all that much, but I would have liked to see.
She'd took the Halle Berry approach, huh?
Right?
Cut out half the costume.
Well, I think I would have liked to see a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman movie. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, that'd have been good. That'd have been real good.
Directed by Tim Burton. Possibly a better story.
Yeah,
but there's something, that thing that I was trying to remember before, it still hasn't come back yet. So
it'll come back.
Yeah. Don't worry. Long after the podcast.
Long after we're done recording.
I was like, I should have said that. And I should have said that.
Right. Send it to me and I'll put it on my podcast.
Right. I'll definitely do that. As a matter of fact, what you call it? I remember now. I remember what I was going to say. The reason I write everything down is because stuff escapes me. Like, we have just watched the movie, me and Zachary, before we started recording, and already stuff is just escaping. So, I got to write stuff down or I'm not going to remember anything. But anyways, that's it for IMDb. That's it for the what do you call it? The trivia. I hope you enjoyed the trivia. And now, in our next segment, we're going to see what the critics thought about Batman Returns.
All right.
I get the title.
Oh, I think that's you. But
yeah, that's me.
I'll read it.
I just paused for the for effect.
Okay. Man, y'all too fancy on this show. I'm
That's all right.
Y'all confuse me. I write down a few notes and then I forget about the notes. We go totally off script. There's no pauses and we ramble for 30 minutes.
Right.
That's my method.
So now we're back and we're going to see what the critics thought. So the critics gave it 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience gave it a 73%. The IMDb reviews got 7.1 out of 10. So why don't you let us know what the critics thought about this movie?
All right. Sarah Musnicki, Nightmares Conjurings?
Yeah.
I guess that's where she reviewed it at, I guess?
Yeah.
All right. None have captured the feeling of Bruce Wayne's duality more, in my opinion, than Tim Burton's Batman Returns. She clearly didn't watch this movie. It was so much more than that.
Well, this is just a snippet of what she thought. And I think what she's saying is that she liked Bruce Wayne transformation to Batman better. But there's been, I don't remember when this review was written. So this may have been a little bit earlier. So she probably hadn't seen the other versions of Batman.
Okay.
Like, she probably didn't see the Ben Affleck Batman, or maybe she did like it better than Ben Affleck, or the Christian Bale Batman. I think, in my opinion, Christian Bale transformation, the duality of Christian Bale, Bruce Wayne and Batman, was much better than
better.
Michael Keaton.
Like, Bale's Batman, I wouldn't have guessed in a million years that Bale would have been Batman if, I met Bruce Wayne out in the real world just two different personalities. He always had the
Right.
model on his arm. You know, he was obnoxiously rich. He'll land helicopters for no reason.
Oh,
You know,
also the voice, the famous voice
yeah,
that he
that's right.
did, right?
He deepened the voice. Yeah, unlike the new Batman where he just kept the same voice.
Well, the same voice is more of a new thing. Not even Michael Keaton changed his voice that much. It's like
Not that much, yeah. A little bit though. A little bit.
Right. It was a little bit. It was definitely a little bit. But I think they got away. He could get away with it because Bruce Wayne didn't come out much. So people really weren't familiar with Bruce Wayne in that version of Batman.
And maybe never heard Batman talk either. So
Right.
Yeah. All right. Mark. Oh, my phone dim just went down. Mark Armory, the Spectre. That's where you reviewed it at. Routine car chases and explosions do not make a mildly dull film exciting. Okay.
I disagree with his assessment, mainly because
he's a hater.
Yeah, because it's anything but dull. You can say anything about this movie, except to say that it was dull.
Exactly, the movie was corny, campy,
right?
Big plot holes or whatever, but
unrealistic.
The movie was exciting all the way through.
Right,
all
absolutely.
the way through. Yeah.
So Brian Gibson from View Weekly, he wrote, among the 1990s most fruitful marriages of highbrow artistic style and pulp source material, a Burton-esque layer cake. At the bottom, his take on German expressionism, and then the Gotham grotesquerie, topping it all off is a fissuring, fracturing fairy tale. So you know what? It looks like tomato soup reading this, but I get what he's saying. Because basically he's talking about, because he's recognizing Tim Burton as an auteur. Like he has a style that he kind of sticks to. So like when the thing about Tim Burton's, like when you see a Tim Burton film, you instantly recognize it as Tim Burton. Now
exactly.
He's kind of expanded his style. So like when you see something like Alice in Wonderland, it's a lot more colorful than a lot of his earlier films. So I think he's starting to expand his palette, but especially in his earlier works, you instantly understand. So people recognize him as an auteur. And then,
that was a lot of fancy words to say it was good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Then he refers to German expressionism. So I'm not familiar with that, but from what I understand, Tim Burton took some elements of German expressionism and put it in his movie. Then the writer describes Gotham as grotesquerie. I don't even know if that's a real word, just something the writer made up. But he's saying that it's something about Gotham City that's gross in a way, that's like, or grotesque, because Gotham City has all these gargoyles and this strange architecture. And
these weird saying, criminals and
right. And he's recognizing it as all kind of fractured up, fractured fairy tale. So I'm like, it's a lot of fancy words to say that it's good, as you said, but I liked what he was saying in this, so that's why I chose this one.
I said this on another podcast, but man, could you imagine living in Gotham City? How bad that would be, like just
I think it's like, I mean, every city has its like bad parts, but apparently in Gotham City, it's all bad, right?
It's all bad. It's just all bad.
That's the problem with Gotham City. There aren't any nice neighborhoods in Gotham City. It's all bad.
They got named and these criminals aren't just like robbing banks. Every criminal wants to like poison the water.
Right. The Penguin wanted to kill the firstborn of all the rich families in this movie.
Exactly.
Right. That's super ambitious. Right.
And
so,
I think in the first one, Joker tried to just blow up the city in general, I think, or
Joker wanted to he wanted several things, but his main ambition was to make everybody like him. He wanted everybody to have that.
That's right. He tried to use the Joker gas to
He wanted to Joker gas everybody, and he went.
Could you imagine?
Several levels to try to do that, but
crazy city, man.
Right. we forgive that because he's crazy, and apparently
Yeah.
Gotham is full of that.
And one hero to stop them all,
Well, we like to think one hero because the movies they only use one person, but Batman has a whole family of people that he relies on. Like he has all of his Robins. There's a Batgirl. There's somebody like that like false Batman. Well, I don't want to call him a false Batman because he was Batman for a little while. What's Azrael? The Azrael.
Oh
hero.
yeah, Azrael. Yeah.
Right. And then there are this Gotham City Sirens. There's
you got So, but I'm talking about in these particular movies.
Yeah, in these movies,
it just shows
it's weird. It's just Batman,
one guy.
It's Batman, Alfred, and the police commissioner, right? So that's about it. And the final review that we got from Kenneth Turin from the Los Angeles Times. Burden's dark, melancholic vision is undeniably something to see, but it is a claustrophobic conception, not only an expansive one, oppressive rather than exhilarating, and it strangles almost all enjoyment out of this movie without half trying. And I don't agree with that. I have a lot of fun with this movie. Like I said, you can say anything you want about this movie, but you can't say you ain't getting no enjoyment out of this movie. Like,
I enjoyed the movie. The movie was very enjoyable.
Right. There was some, especially today, there were some plot holes that you just wince at, right? But it wasn't. But if you just relax your brain, just enjoy it, you can enjoy the movie. You gotta. I should have
showed this one. I wish I would have showed this one to my kids.
Right.
My smaller kids. It was more of their type of movie. They probably would have enjoyed that one.
And the younger you are when you watch this movie, the more enjoyment you get out of it. I mean, there was some. It's a dark fairy tale for kids, and
it is.
It works exactly like that. Like when I look at it now, it's a lot of it is cringeworthy. Not only because it hasn't aged particularly well, but also because when you watch it as an adult, you realize that this movie was not made for adults. All right?
No. No, it doesn't appear to be. Appear to be, like it was. No.
Right. But you still draw enjoyment out of it anyway. So that was so your final thoughts on Batman Returns.
I loved it as a kid. As an adult, it was so cheesy, but it was so cheesy that it was laughable and still entertaining. So I liked it. I'm not gonna bash it for what it is. It's a great movie. I will rank it up there in some of my top Batman movies.
Right.
I mean, on entertainment value, I enjoyed it more than the new Batman movie on entertainment value,
I would I would say that what you call it. Have you seen a list of like Batman rankings, like people are ranking their Batman movies? So originally, I mean, I don't have a Batman movie ranked, but originally this was like pretty high on the rankings.
This is definitely in my top 5,
right?
3, maybe even 3.
I think for me this would have to go down a couple notches. I don't know where I would put it at, but definitely somewhere in the middle now.
You got to think of you got to think of Batman movies. I mean, we had like Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. It was better than that,
Right.
It was better than those. Yeah, but it was better than the first Batman to me.
Right. But I feel like I gotta reevaluate like Batman Forever and then Batman and Robin now. Because like after seeing this movie, I got like maybe I should reevaluate those two movies.
I was thinking the same thing. I actually want to go back and watch those.
Right. Yeah. Like this movie isn't as good as I remember. So maybe those movies weren't as bad as I remember.
Aren't as bad. Sure, Batman and Robin was as bad as I remember though.
Right. So I feel like I gotta go and review those movies, and a reevaluation is in order at this point.
I went back and watched The Dark Knight right after I watched the Batman.
Right.
And The Dark Knight was better than I remembered. That was a phenomenal Batman movie. That was really good. That's my favorite one. It was really good. I think I'm gonna watch The Dark Knight Rises next because I haven't watched that in so long.
Right. The thing that I loved about the Dark Knight Rises is that all of the callbacks, all of the people who return to even for a small cameo for
Yeah.
that movie. So you got the guy that played Scarecrow, he returned for that movie, and some
Yeah.
of the other actors. I was like, and I was surprised to see him. I was like, oh man, this movie is really going out with it's like a celebration of Batman, right?
Oh yeah, it was good. It was good. It was
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I should have went back and watched Batman Begins. I think I need to check that one out because like somebody pointed out to me, this new Batman is supposed to be the first of the trilogy. So if you
Right.
want to compare it against something, you need to compare it against Batman Begins,
Right.
So maybe I need to go back and check that one out and see.
Yeah, I've heard that elsewhere too. I've heard that it it compares a lot to Batman Begins, simply because it they had the same emotion. It had the same emotional impact. Like
Yeah.
when he saw the movie, his immediate reaction, he wrote on Twitter, "Well, the Batman is a movie," right? That's what he wrote.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then on his podcast, it was on well, I'm trying to think of what the name, For All Nerds podcast. What he said, what he actually said was that it was a good movie, but it wasn't something that he hasn't seen before. Like everything in the Batman was stuff that he's seen before. So it was nothing in particular in that movie that stood out to him. So
Yeah. Well, and that's my issues with the Batman. It's a Batman movie, but it didn't have to be.
right.
you know, you know what I mean? Like it
Right.
it could have been
I know what you mean, because I've heard other people say it. It's like it could have been like any detective movie, like it didn't
any
have to be
detective.
Batman.
It could have been any hard nosed,
right.
detective, and would have been just fine with it. It'd have been still a good movie. You know what I mean? You can't do that with any other Batman film. Like you can't put anybody in Batman Returns. You can't. Nobody could play in The Dark Knight. It had to be Batman. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
And the Batman just seemed like they just had a detective running around in a suit, which is just weird. Which is just very weird.
My feeling about it is that I really enjoyed the detective aspect in that. And I felt that it was Batman for the simple fact that people don't realize that bulletproof armor don't work like that. So for the bulletproof armor that he had alone, just for that alone, I feel like only the Batman could do that. Plus a lot of his other gadgets, plus like the contact lenses he's had. You got to think about that. That's the most advanced piece of technology that anybody's ever seen. Not only does it record video, but it transmit video too.
It was screaming.
Right.
You know how much Twitch people would pay for that?
It didn't transmit. It recorded because he had to put it on a device in order to download the video.
Yeah, because he had her in the ear. Yeah.
Right. Oh no, for her.
No, for her, it was streaming what she saw.
Right, it was streaming what she saw. Right,
that's right.
Yeah. So it recorded, it streamed. That's some in a little contact lens. That's some advanced technology. Plus, you couldn't tell that she was wearing contact lenses, right?
No,
so,
that's what I'm saying.
Only the Batman could do that.
Twitch streamers would pay any amount of money for that. Like,
right,
you know what I mean?
Right. So I think with those two things, that it couldn't really be, for me, it couldn't be anybody else but the Batman, just because of those two things alone. Because if you get hit by somebody shoot you with a bullet, like even if it was like a 22 and you wearing a bulletproof vest, even if it's like a thick one like the Batman had, it would put you down. They're like you're not just going to walk through that, right? You're gonna feel that. Yeah. You be like, ow, right?
The other thing was though, to me was like, I would want the Batman to be on my case because I would get off. He didn't contaminate evidence. He's not supposed to be on the crime scene. Well, where's the chain of custody? Well,
he didn't break the chain of custody. So one thing, as Lieutenant Gordon pointed out, he had gloves on. The other thing was,
why is he? That's what my lawyer would say. Why is he there?
He's a paid consultant. You remember that show Monk?
Yeah, Monk. Yeah,
Batman is Monk.
Now Batman's a paid consultant.
He's a paid consultant, and so he just shows up to assist the police. The only problem is that he can't testify, and that would be a problem. But he doesn't
You have
doesn't
the
take
right to
evidence.
face your accuser.
Right. He doesn't. Well, it's in this point is the city of Gotham City. And so
Yeah.
he doesn't take the evidence. All he does is tell Jim, look over there. And then Jim does it. And
Yeah.
then Jim testifies, not the Batman, because Jim can figure it out for himself. So
I don't know. Still, the right lawyer, he'll rip that. I think he'll rip Batman apart. Like,
yeah. And then there's what you call it, the but that's how it works in the comics, right? In the comics, he works with the police, or he works with Commissioner Gordon. So I like that they kind of took that. This is the first time you actually seen Batman really work with Lieutenant Gordon. You've seen a little bit of it, and well, it's not the first time, because you see he does it a little bit in the the Nolan movies. There's a lot of working with Commissioner Gordon, but in this movie, it was like a buddy cop movie. So
yeah, it was. It really was.
They were just hanging out together.
Yeah.
They were hanging out.
But they had jokes. Gordon out there in his old car and getting shot at.
Right. Yeah, that was. They do that in every movie, though. That's a action movie trope that you can hide behind your car and not get shot. I was like, no,
not get shot.
Cars don't work. Cars don't work that way unless your car is bulletproof. They don't work that way unless your car is built like Batman's car. It don't work that way. It's like if somebody shoots your door.
Gordon
you're
hiding
behind the door,
right?
Right. If somebody's shooting at your door and you're hiding behind the door, you're going to get shot, right? So that doesn't work that way. But I'm kind of used to the trope by now. They haven't given up on that trope. So that's and then Zachary, he liked both of these movies. He liked both the Batman. He liked Batman Returns. Although he did mention a lot of the things that we had talked about, how it was super campy and everything, but he still was able to find joy in it. And he found some of the things that we had talked about, like as far as like some of the, like the Penguin being in character while he was on set, like the entire time he was on set, and those type of things. So yeah, that was pretty great. So so now we're coming to the end of the show. But finally, Batman Returns, as of this recording, is available on Hulu, which I was surprised because I expected it to be on HBO Max because it's a Warner Brothers property. And then when I turned to HBO Max, it wasn't there. I was like, what? How can they do this? They took all of the Keaton Batman, the Tim Burton Batmans off of HBO Max, which doesn't make any sense because when the Flash come out, they're going to want to put it back on, or it's going to come out next year.
Yeah.
But so it's on Hulu, but Hulu got commercials. So I just rented it because I can't stand commercials.
Well, I said, I wonder if it's on Netflix because they have the other trilogy on Netflix.
Right.
So I saw it on Netflix. I yelled at the Alexa, hey, Alexa, play Batman Returns on Netflix. And she was like, well, getting Batman from Hulu. And I was like, oh, okay.
there she goes again.
Yeah, there she goes again. Yeah.
So
I was like, okay, well, cool.
Is that where you watched it on Hulu?
Yeah, I watched it on Hulu. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, how often was the commercials? Was it bothersome, or was it just like watching the regular
none.
made for TV?
I didn't have any commercials.
Oh, do you have the paid Hulu, or do you have the
Verizon pays it? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got it through Verizon. They pay it. Yeah.
I got Hulu through Sprint, but I think they're paying for the lowest tier, so I think I still get commercials. Yeah.
But it was no commercials. They had commercials in the beginning before it started.
Right.
And then, but during the movie, it was nothing.
Yeah, you definitely have the second tier. So so for all of you who have Hulu, you got you can watch Batman. So next week we return with The Spy Who Loved Me with special guest Finn Haverkamp. Don't forget, you can contact us with any questions, comments, and suggestions at fanmail@backlickcinema.com. So Rocky, you got any additional plugs that you want to put out there?
No, same old thing, man. You really make me look bad. You already know what you're doing next week. I've decided to think ahead, like, because when I was first doing the podcast, I think the very first time that we were together, and the first time you was on my show, you was like a couple of months ago, right? No, it was a while back.
Yeah, this is your third time on the show. No, I was on your show.
That's my second time on the show.
Yeah,
you were
this
on
is
my
your second
show.
time. Right.
Yeah.
So the first time you was on this show, I had no idea what I was doing next. And then I decided, well, maybe I should, because I'm spoiling the hell out of these movies. So maybe if I tell our audience what's coming up next. Then they can go watch it, and then they can enjoy this show, the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's doing the Batman
Yeah.
Returns, or he's doing The Spy Who Loved Me. And besides, when you have guests, it helps to have a movie that they can watch. So
yeah, I record tomorrow, and I still ain't got it all pinned down yet. But I'm gonna get there. There will be a show. There will be a show.
Yours is a lot looser, and a looser
Yeah,
show
it
is
is.
definitely easier to do because you could just get on your phone or whatever and just start talking and be done. It's glorious.
Pod Track 4, greatest invention ever.
Right.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting one of those.
Yeah, it's the greatest invention ever.
Right.
But no, yeah, just same, just like I said at the beginning, follow us on social medias, Audio Oddity Podcasts, and listen to the podcast, please.
Available everywhere.
Available everywhere. That's right. And also if you want to be a guest on the show, or you want me to be a guest on your show, you can audioodditypodcast@gmail.com. Drop me an email, or you can just direct message me on any of the social medias. And we'll put something together and make it happen.
That's awesome. That's great that you did that. I should do that more often.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to. Okay, so I'm all about. I'm open book. I don't really. It's no kind of behind the scenes with my show.
Right.
So I want to get. I'm really bad at inviting people on the show. Like, I'm horrible at. I think I've had 2 guests, you and Lit God MVP, who, by full disclosure, I known since we were like 6. So,
right.
So, he's the only 2 people who have been on my show. I'm horrible about asking.
Right.
So I'm trying to, I feel like if I put it out there, people, maybe if people contact me, then I'll be like, oh, then I'll think about it more and be like, and feel more comfortable and, hey, you want to come on? And you know what I mean?
Right.
Try to get more into it. But I do know the key to growing is to, have guests.
Right.
Be a guest.
Right.
Be sociable. You know what I mean? I'm working on it.
You might catch somebody who has lots of followers.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe.
Right. That's always helpful.
Yeah, I am guesting on Infinite Journeys podcast, March 26th. I'll plug that.
Oh, well, awesome. And now our listeners have something to look forward to if they want to check you out again.
Yeah, if you want to hear me again, of course you can always check me out on my show every Sunday at 11 a.m. But I will be on Infinite Journeys podcast. Well, that's the plan anyway. March 26th. I think that's a Saturday maybe, or Friday. I'm not sure. But March 26th, I'll be on there. Yeah.
Awesome.
You know what? People keep getting abducted in my area. So apparently it's been multiple abductions today.
Right. That's life in the big city. Are you sure you're not in Gotham?
Yeah, I know, right?
All right. So one last time. Oh, I think I read that part. See, there we go again, getting confused. So what I need our audience to do is to listen to this show, Backlick Cinema Podcast, and I want you to subscribe and to review these podcasts, listen to, subscribe, and review Audio Oddity. We really appreciate it. Believe me, it matters. Be safe. Share a movie from yesteryear with your family. Hug your loved ones, and be